Howdy everybody, I'm Steve Mesple from Wildwood Guitars, and I'm here at the NAMM Show 2012 with my good friend Pete Anderson at the Reverend guitar booth. We had the great pleasure of having Pete join us for a couple days in Colorado to demonstrate the first Pete Anderson signature model, the PA-1, and now today we're back in Pete's wonderful company to demo a new Reverend guitar, the Eastsider-T. So first of all, Pete, big thanks to you. Great seeing you again. Can you tell us about the new guitar?
Yeah, well, first of all, it's called the Eastsider, and there's a little story behind that. When I first ran into the Reverend guys, their first shop was on the corner of the street I grew up on. Literally, I said, "Where are you guys from?" They said, "Detroit." I said, I met them at the NAMM Show about 6 years ago. I saw the Reverend booth, and I said, "Where are you guys from?" "Detroit." I go, "Okay, I'm from Detroit. Whereabouts?" "East Side." "I'm from the East Side." It keeps going. Finally, he goes, "I'm on the corner of Camden and Gratiot." And Gratiot is a French word, Gratoit, Gratoy, but we always called it Gratiot. That's how it was pronounced. And I said, "Oh, you're across from the Lutheran Church next to Lou's Liquor Store by the police station." He goes, "Yes, that's exactly where we are." I said, "Which side building?" He says, "We're in the industrial buildings to the left." I said, "You know, when I was about 12 years old, I think I broke the window being a hoodlum in the alley behind one of your buildings, and I ran home and hid, and the police were chasing me." But they literally were 4 blocks from my house. So it was sort of, in a strange way, very fortuitous that I hooked up with Reverend because they're a Detroit company, they're an American company, and in reality, it's a small enough company that when you call up 9 times out of 10, you talk to the owner. So you say, if I'm going to do something, I don't have to go to a bevy of people, listeners or mechanics or anybody. It's like, yes or no. Yes, I'd like to do it. No, I wouldn't. So we started a really successful relationship with the PA-1, which has been out and has done very well. And then I'd had a few people approach me, of course, about putting together, for lack of a term, a Telecaster style guitar, because I've played one for so many years. And I talked to him about it. And I said, if I did it, at first I talked to him, I said, if you guys wanted to do this, we'd have to come to the party with what I want again and in a certain way. Can you do this? Can you do that? This, that, and the other thing. And they were, real adamant about, yeah, we could get it done for you. And so with the PA-1 as well as with the Eastsider, what I wanted to accomplish was that you would sit down and play the guitar, maybe not plugged in, and have it feel right to you. So in the case of this guitar, the neck angle's not as important. The headstock angle past the nut is important because that is where string tension comes in. But as far as like the feel of the neck, the frets, and a fender is very important because you have such a reach on the guitar, so you need a multi-radius neck. For those of you that don't understand what a multi-radius neck is it's got a much higher curve near the top for playing chords, and the old Fender guitars some of them were 9 inches, so that would be a very high round, but when you got up here and you bent strings, you'd fret out. So their way of solving it, 30 years ago was filing the frets down. Well, it's like, that's kind of not the direction I want to go. Somebody got really smart, and when computers and more sophisticated lathes got involved, they flattened it out as it goes up, so it goes from 10 to 14, so it's a nice flat radius up here for bending. Then we took also the heel here and shaved this down so it's not as much of a block when you're behind here playing the instrument to play up here, so it's much more comfortable. Those are important things about the feel of the instrument before you plug it in. The PA-1 is the same thing. I want you to sit down and go, you know what? If I put my strings on this tonight, I could go play a gig, if that's my style of guitar. Same thing with this guitar. Joe came up with a different wood in the body. I think it's Carina, which has a little bit more mahogany feel. He put cavities in it, so it's light, which still keeps the twang, but I think the Carina gives it a little more husk to it. There's a 2 pickup model and a 3 pickup model. In this model, this is a push-pull that adds 1 and 3, which is a real important position for tele players. It's a different switch on the 2 pickup model. It's a out-of-phase switch. Anyway, and then this has got a 5-way selector, locking tuners, a Wilkinson bridge, Teflon, the right string tree, and a lot of this stuff people assume is decorative, but it's not. This makes a big difference. So it's set up for a player. So no matter how expensive of a guitar you owned, if you were a Tele style player, you're going to pick this up and go, I could play this. The neck's also a little bit wider than a standard, Fender, and for me, I've been doing a lot of chordal work, so it's really easy to grab your chords. It's more of a Gibson width, and it's priced really reasonably. It's $9.99, and the 2 pickup is $8.99. So, do the math, figure out, what you can do with your dealers, and you're going to be able to pick up an extremely easily high-quality playing guitar for not very much money. And if you're playing gigs and bars and clubs and slogging it out, getting your career started, or you're touring on the road and you don't want to be bringing out expensive equipment, but you feel you're a good enough player that you deserve to play a good instrument, you should check this one out. I'll be playing it this year. I will have at least two of them on the road with me this year, so I'll be playing this along with my PA-1.
Beautifully said. I love Reverend guitars. I own several myself. I think they're incredibly well-engineered instruments, great features, great sounds, and I know you get very personally involved in the design of the guitars that have your name on them. Big thanks to you for all you do for music and everything. Why don't you pick a little bit, taking everybody out of here?